What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, consider that subscribe button. Mr. Bitcoin Maxi here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Now, today I want to talk to you guys about my personal journey with Bitcoin and building wealth with it. Now, I'll make a separate video going into how I lost a ton of money with NFTs and things like that. When NFTs were hot, I believe it was back in 2000. I can't remember, to be honest. I think it was like 2023, 2024. Those years when NFTs were pretty big, and to be honest, I lost a lot of money, but I was still investing into Bitcoin. And things like this, I had to learn from. Losing a lot of money. I also was trading meme coins. I never really, to be honest, got into altcoins. Something I never really got into, but meme coins I got into. And to be honest, I lost a ton of money in that too. And I was thinking, all that money that I lost, I could have put that into Bitcoin, right? And so I lost a lot of that money. And I believe one year with NFTs, it was around $100,000. So imagine $100,000 would have been more money to my stack. And at the time when I lost that, it was over a whole year period. I lost that about $100,000 when I looked with my tax filer. It was about 100 grand, and Bitcoin at the time, I believe, was like around 60,000. I believe it was around 60,000. Yeah. To this day, do I regret it? No, because I had to learn from it. I had to learn from my mistakes. You see, in life, we, try things, they don't work. We have to move on. A lot of people would beat themselves up over it. And to be honest, I did for a while. Because now looking back on it, I'm like, dang, that'd have been what? 60,000 around Bitcoin was. Almost 2 Bitcoin now, right? That I could have had added to my stack. But if I never went through that lesson, that I wouldn't have learned to start living a minimalistic life. So I've always been addicted to nicotine. So I stopped smoking cigarettes. And after I stopped smoking cigarettes, being in the military for a long time, I was in the military for quite a long time. And so as a habit I picked up drinking a lot of beer, going out all the time, going out partying, and that's something I had to learn. I was like, all that money that I'm using for alcohol, all that money that I'm using for things that I really don't need, that aren't good for me, right? I could be taking that money and investing. But at the same time, there are learning lessons. It comes down to discipline, and that's something that I had to learn. I had to learn to be disciplined and go through my, downfalls of losing all that money in order to learn that, hey, this isn't working. Some people it works, some people it doesn't. But for me, it didn't work for me. And so what I started doing was I started being like, you know what? If I don't need it, I'm going to save it. If I don't need, something, I'm going to get rid of it. For example, I bought a BMW. It was a 428i. Really nice coupe, M series. I believe it was an M series edition I had. And the insurance was crazy on it every month. It was like $200 a month. And I said, you know what? $200 a month? Too expensive. Don't need it. Some people might be like, well, it's insurance. You need it. Yeah, but for me, I'm like, I don't need it. That $200 extra a month, I could be saving. I could be investing, So I got rid of my BMW. And I scaled down to a more affordable vehicle. My insurance is only like $50 a month. So I'm saving about $150 a month extra that I could be putting into Bitcoin, right? And so a lot of people I know watching this, might say, well, it's easier said than done. And I'm here to tell you that I had to go through it, and a lot of people will go through it, but there'll come a point in your life where you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't be spending money that, you know, if I don't really need it. You ever notice that you buy something and you think it'll make you happy, and it won't, and it doesn't? That was the same thing with me. I'll flip over here. That was the same thing with me with my BMW. I always wanted a BMW, right? And so I got it. It didn't really make me happy. And so what makes me happy is investing my money and securing my future. And this is how I've been able to build, my wealth slowly. And so my personal journey with Bitcoin, when I sit here and look at the gains that I make, right? I'm happy. I can sleep at night. When I was in NFTs and when I was trading meme coins, it's like, I'm telling you, I couldn't sleep. And some people, they have the ability to be like, you know what, I can do this, but you have to understand that a lot of those people, sometimes they might not even say how much money they lost. They only show how much money that they really make, but they don't ultimately show how much money they lost. And that's something that I want to tell you guys. On my journey, I was trying a bunch of different things, and then in the end, I look at how much I lost. I'm like, if I only invested that money into Bitcoin, I would have so much more Bitcoin than what I have now, you know? And so slow and steady and not burning yourself out is always the best way to go about investing. And I'm not a financial advisor, but this is just what's worked for me, you know? And a lot of people I've talked to in the crypto space say the same thing. There's some people that get lucky, but it's like hitting the lottery. And when I was in NFTs, it felt like gambling. It almost felt like a gambling addiction, and I didn't like it. And when I got into meme coins, it felt even more like gambling. It was the same thing ultimately, because one's just like a digital trading card, digital picture, and then meme coins was the same thing. It's just basically a coin that somebody launches, and pretty much you get rugged. And so sometimes they build strong communities, but 99% of those meme coins, they go to zero, or even if they go really high up, they'll go to zero. Now, why am I so hopeful for Bitcoin? So some people might be asking, well, why are you investing into Bitcoin then if all that other stuff is done the same thing? Because Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. The thing is that Bitcoin, right? There's a fixed supply of 21 million Bitcoin. And so when I seen that, I was like, there's a lot of houses. So you can invest into real estate, you can invest into gold. But the thing is that with gold, you can keep mining it, and it's hard. And that's something that I had to learn, that I have a wallet, right? And I can just send it to somebody in the world. They need money. And so it's instantaneous, right? Pretty much. With gold, I have to get on the plane. I have to, put it in something and try and get it out of the country, which is going to be really expensive. Or I can just put it on the cold storage wallet. Or even if you have like one of those exchanges, which I don't recommend you keep your Bitcoin on exchanges, because it can either get hacked. Cold wallets can, but if you're cold wallets are a lot better to me. But for me, Bitcoin is going to keep going up forever. And I know a lot of people might say, well, what happens when all the Bitcoin's mined? To me, the price it's going to be harder to buy it when all the Bitcoin are mined, right? And that's why I'm so bullish about it. And that's why I'm so, I'm just want to invest in Bitcoin. And this has been my personal journey. It's like, if I don't need it, right, in my personal life, then I'm not going to buy it. If it doesn't make sense, if I don't need it, I'm not going to buy it, right? Because I could take that money and I can invest it into my future. And that's the way that I can keep adding more Bitcoin in my stack. And Bitcoin to me is just going to keep going up forever. Even people right now, they think that Bitcoin at $100,000 is too much. That's the thing. Bitcoin, we're still really like so early to Bitcoin, it's not even funny, because countries are adopting it now, institutions are adopting it, you know, and it's just to me going to keep going up forever. And so to me, it's the best thing to secure one's financial future. And for me, I just see it as a store of value. But at the same time, it's investing, right? Because there's a use case for it. There's a fixed supply of 21 million Bitcoin, which a lot of Bitcoin's already lost. And over time, there's going to be more that are going to get lost because people are buying it now, possibly are going to lose the keys to their wallet, right? So Bitcoin, I think, is going to get more and more and more scarce, because if you don't secure your network keys, if you don't secure your private keys, I mean, then your Bitcoin is just going to get lost, you know? And if it gets lost, then that contributes to the network. So it's everybody's responsibility to take action and ensure that you pretty much keep your Bitcoin safe. It's up to you. You know how, like, if you go to the bank, and that's another thing that I didn't like, was when I go to the bank, I would take out large sums of money, right? And then they would ask me, like, what are you taking this out for? You know, are you buying anything special, or what's going on? It's like, I didn't really like that, you know? And I've heard stories about that too, which is crazy, but I've been to the bank quite a bit of times, and the tellers asked me what I'm using it for, and I really didn't like it. And so that's one thing that I think right now, people, with the rise of crypto, a lot of people are getting more and more interested in it, but at the same time, I can understand why a lot of people are scared to invest into it or buy it, because they think it's a scam. And so if you're new to Bitcoin, if you're watching this, if you're new to Bitcoin, just take a lot of time to study it, because that's what I did. I took hours and hours and hours to study it. And once I seen how it worked, I bought a little bit my first time. I seen how it worked, sending it from one wallet to another. It's instantaneous pretty much. And I was like, wow, this is game changing, you know, because it cuts out banks. And especially, you notice if you go to take money out of a bank at the ATM, it says, oh, you've reached your daily limit. And that's the thing about banks, is the banks are there pretty much to take your money. And so when you leave your money in a savings account, right, the bank is pretty much lending out your money. And so, yeah, your money is sitting in the savings account, but at the same time, it's getting lent. They're lending it out. And so a lot of people don't really understand that. So I want to come on and make this video, a little story about my personal journey with Bitcoin. Hope you guys enjoy. Consider hitting that subscribe button. I will be coming out more videos. Peace.